It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and young guns Billy Derrick and Michael Cindric. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
It is a beautiful Thursday in January in Nashville, Tennessee. Boy, we cannot get anything better than what we've got right now. Not only that, we got a great show for you today. We're going to get Ron Bargatze's list of the 14 best players who have ever come out of this level, out of this area, and gone on to have really good college basketball careers. That's going to be fun because nobody knows that better than him. We'll also learn, because I can see him right now at the bottom of my screen, we're going to learn how Lee Fowler got himself in that position. Did he achieve all of this on his own, or did he get help? My guess, he got a lot of help.
I would say the same thing, George.
You mean on my end?
Well, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we all know that. Look, misery's
everyone involved other than Michael and I.
Yeah. Misery's looking for company. That's all this is.
Well, here's Watson for you.
Yeah. Watson, how are you today?
George, I'm doing great. What a beautiful day.
Yeah.
I should be on the golf course.
Well, I was going to ask, good enough to hit a few?
It was, but I didn't get to go. I'm in this inner battle with what you call a sweet gum tree in my backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know what a sweet gum tree is, they put out these little balls, furry ball things, and they're all over my yard. And so
I do know. Yes.
I spend the whole day picking them up yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I walked out the door again this morning, and they're everywhere again.
Yep.
The wind's blowing mighty strong, south to north. The tree sits to the point, if it blows south, I get them all. If it blows north, the other property gets them all. I'm getting all of them, and I can't win this battle. It's wearing me out.
Yeah.
I know that meant a lot for you to hear that, but
I can see the turmoil it's causing in your life, and I'm
not a happy camper. I'm not a happy camper.
I don't know what else to tell you.
There ain't nothing to tell me. Just love me every once in a while. Just hug me every once in a while.
Just call
it's hard to do when you're in Cookeville.
You got long arms, George.
Not that long. Billy, how are you today?
I'm doing great, George. I was going to suggest Watson. Oh, I need to lower this. I was going to suggest Watson to maybe give you a call. Maybe you could help him out. Pick those out.
Yeah, but
I'd say right now might not be the best time for that, Billy. And I think you knew that and took advantage. For those of you who are wondering, we're having some back issues. This segment may well eventually be sponsored by Metamucil. Okay. I have on right now, Watson, a heating pad.
But Watson, if you hear a bzzz, that's the heating pad.
Well, hey, Michael, you got to understand. You're sitting next to a guy that cannot handle any pain whatsoever. I mean, he can handle any. Zero. Oh, yeah. Zero.
Watson, Watson, what do you do for guys like that you coach back in your?
You can prick his finger, Michael. You can prick his finger, and you're going to have to call an ambulance.
This is so not true.
I mean, it's true.
No,
I don't want to even use the word I want to use. I won't go there. But you know the word that I'd want to use.
Does it start with a P?
No, but it's close.
Really? Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so Michael, obviously you were not going to defend me at any point in that discussion. So great to have you with us. Enjoy your day.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, sure you are.
Back in my corner.
Yeah, that's where you belong right now. Do we have an update?
We do, George. We've got another rip roaring update, and
I'm sure we do.
We start with the Preds. They got a big game tonight in St. Louis, 7:00 puck drop. They're trying to make it 3 wins in a row. They've got 48 points. St. Louis is at 47. So they want to try to create a little bit more space, and they can do that tonight. So
this is a big game. Yeah, this is a big game for them. This is one they could really use. And to be honest, in recent times, St. Louis has been their daddy. And they need to sort of change that mojo a little bit and come back and let them know that we're your daddy.
You like that term, don't you?
Well, I do. I've used it a lot over the.
Yeah.
By the way, Watson, right now I'm on a heater.
Oh, ain't no doubt.
Watson, we didn't
Not
make
only-
it 5 minutes.
It took
Not
5
only
minutes. for
5
that.
minutes.
Not only with this heating pad, but in some other areas. I'm on a heater.
Watson, George said that before the show, and I said, you're going to let the whole world know about it. And he said,
Oh, it didn't take long, did it? Didn't take long.
Couldn't help himself.
What else is in that update, Billy?
Well, George, we've got Byron Leftwich in the news. Tampa Bay has fired Leftwich after 4 seasons, part of an overhaul that includes 8 other coaches leaving the staff. Their offense averaged 18 points per game. That was 25th in the NFL. They also had the league's worst rushing attack, averaging only 77 yards per game.
Len Fournette.
Yeah, Gerber's baby food.
Well, I've used that term a few times. Watson, this is just simply, well, it looks like 2 things. On Leftwich, it's scapegoat. But on the staff, it looks to me like it's the head coach saying, I am getting rid of all the Bruce Arians people. I bet Bruce Arians isn't very happy right now.
I'd say Bruce isn't, but at the same time, man deserves to get who he wants to be on his staff. He had to take over the staff last year, George, so this is his shot. He has every right to hire and fire whoever he wants, and I'm for him in that way. Isn't it funny that half a year ago, when Bruce retires, whatever you want to call it, all the big rumor was Brady is upset because he and the coordinator make these plans. Bruce comes in, hadn't been there all week, comes in late in the week, nixes this, nixes that. And and then Bruce is gone. And all of a sudden now the coordinator's gone. The only guy left in the whole pile is Brady, and he may be gone. It's just weird to think back about the whole thing. You realize that the last 2 years they've been at the top of the league in scoring till this year. They've been at the top of the league in scoring. He had 4 or 5 jobs. This shows you how my business, the windows are small, and you better hit it right, and you better take the right one when you hit it right. But he was courted by 4 different teams. I remember Jacksonville, I thought he turned down. Maybe he didn't. That was out there. He's top of the line. He's one of the best coordinators in the league. 1 year later, out the door. It's what have you done for me this past hour? That's the business, man. And you're right. I think he's part of a scapegoat, and they weren't very good. But was it his fault? Who knows?
What's crazy about all this, Watson? You talked about it a little bit there. That small window is 2 years ago. The Super Bowl champions were the Tampa Bay Bucs. Last year, the Super Bowl champs were the LA Rams. And both of those teams have been completely ravaged. I mean, it's just so hard. It's so hard to stay ultra competitive for a long time. I mean, 2 years ago, Tom Brady chose, arguably, when he was choosing to go to Tampa Bay, one of the best rosters in the NFL. Now their O-line has so many issues on it. You look at the Rams, and they completely mortgage their future to go win that Super Bowl. It's just so hard to have that sustained success at a Super Bowl competition level without really mortgaging your whole future.
Nah, the NFL is smart if this is what they wanted. They're smart because you can have a tougher schedule after you've been good,
right?
And you go down in the draft if you're good.
Yep.
So they have ways of trying to balance it out, where in college football, there's none. There's zero. That's why Alabama's there every year. Clemson's been there every year. Now Georgia's getting there every year. There's no control on the college level. There are pieces in place in the NFL. But what did we just say about both of those? That's my biggest concern for NFL right now. Injury.
Mm-hmm.
Injury. The injuries killed the Rams.
They were killed by injuries, the Bucs too, yeah.
Injuries killed the Bucs this year.
It hurt the Rams too.
They better figure something out.
Yeah.
Because if this is going to be the norm now, we're going to see these teams have this many injuries. 64 different quarterbacks started a game this year in the NFL. That's not a good sign for stability.
Watson,
64 different quarterbacks started games. I'm telling you, they better look into this injury bug because it's a serious deal.
Watson, do you think there's any merit to football becoming more of a year-round thing with all these 7-on-7 tournaments and all these things and younger development kids that could lead to sports injuries? Because I've seen a lot of studies that, you know, playing the same sport year-round is not healthy on the human body. I mean, it works different things, right? I mean, I had a buddy in 8th grade get Tommy John surgery, you know, when growing up with him. And so just playing year-round baseball. And but do you think there's any merit to that?
I don't know. I hate to comment. You'll learn me, Michael. If I don't have something to comment on, there's going to have to be studies on it.
Yeah.
Because if that's what's going on, I don't know that that's what it is now. The NFL gets 3 months, pretty much, don't they? It's about 3. They come back their first true practices in late April, I think. And other than a couple of teams, they're already done. The league's already done, most of them. I don't know. That's a good thing to study. But I just think, Michael, they got to look at a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I've told George, I think maybe before you came on, maybe it's when he first came on, George, we talked, I think the season's too long.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think these bodies can handle it, man. It's 17 times, 18 times. And they say, well, we cut back
It's
the
all
preseason
about
games.
this.
Yeah, I know.
It's all about this. The
But
NFL
they're
doesn't
going to
care.
end up, when your product isn't as good, all of a sudden that money might not be as good down the road too. So injury is such a scary thing to me right now. I'm telling you. I don't know.
Billy, give
We'll
me
see.
the last two really quick.
Last couple pieces here. Greg Roman is out as Baltimore's offensive coordinator. There are now 10 teams with offensive coordinator openings. So a lot of
scapegoats everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Scapegoats everywhere. And John Harbaugh came out and said that Lamar Jackson's going to be involved in the search for the team's new OC. So could that be a sign of things to come, or more of a plea to tell Lamar to stay in Baltimore? George, also NFL games. There's going to be 5 teams that will play in the 2023 international games: Buffalo, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Kansas City, and New England. So before here in about 5 or 10 years, every team in the league will be playing a game in some other country.
Will you be going to London, George, to see the Titans play?
London, Kentucky, yes, absolutely. That's not
Michael,
what we're talking about.
Paris,
he doesn't even cross the river. He doesn't cross the river to watch them now if it's bad weather. So
Wow.
I don't think he's going to London. That's for sure.
How many tickets have you purchased?
0, by the way.
Okay, and so
0.
and so you're the one calling.
You got me on that one.
You're the
okay,
pot calling the kettle
I'll
black.
give you that one. You got
Okay.
me. You've bought the tickets for a long time. So, okay, put a mark up for you. You got me on that one.
Not that I think they care. Let's do this. Let's go to the break, and then the college basketball insiders will join us. Ron Bargatze, I see he's ready and raring to go. Lee Fowler's been ready. Somebody helped him get to a position with yeah. We're going to find out when we come back. Stick around.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Scholar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is simple. I chose Hermitage Strike and Spare. They were amazing. Great food, great bowling, and a staff that's ready to go the extra mile. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5665.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Oh, this is going to be fun. College basketball insiders, front and center stage. Billy, if you will, I want to bring Lee Fowler up first before we bring Coach B. Lee, who helped you get in this position?
My daughter actually got me in this position at this point. I'm in Augusta, Georgia, checking on the Masters and getting ready for that. Make sure the azaleas are growing here in rapid time to make sure they're ready for the Masters. So I'm looking forward to the show today. A lot of interesting stuff going on already, y'all talking about.
Yeah. So are you a liaison as a former NCAA selection committee chairman, you and the Masters?
No, actually, George, but the big thing is I was on the leaderboard of the 2016 Masters first day. An Asian guy named Lee was on the leaderboard, and Ricky Fowler was on the leaderboard, and it said Lee Fowler on 2 lines.
Do you have a picture of that?
I didn't, but one of our old friends at the Tennessean wrote an article about it because I was standing with him on the 6th tee and said, look up there. I made the leaderboard first time I've been to the Masters. And
I love it.
he wrote an article about it. So, my daughter lives here, and we're here for about a week to do work, and I'm about sore as I can be. So I'm getting ready to head back to Tennessee where I don't do much work.
You don't know sore.
Listen, Watson, I heard you about him and Payne. There's no way. Watson, he could have never played for either one of you and I. Never.
Oh.
And I know Ronnie would feel the same way.
Absolutely would have. He would have known every trainer first name basis. Every trainer. And they would have all ducked seeing him coming, Lee. That's all I'm saying. They would have said, oh, get him away from me.
Joe Warden, the wonderful old trainer at Vanderbilt.
Joe Bird.
Told him to tape an aspirin to it and go back out and play.
Joe was the one that said, are you bleeding somewhere? Is there a bone sticking out? Then get your butt back out there.
That's right.
He also was the one on a really difficult flight to Auburn that looked out in the fog at a golf course and said, look at those damn fools. And I said, Joe Bird, shut up. We're all about to die.
Well, Joe Bird also was the one that walked from one end to the other. Kid got hurt at the other end. And I asked him, I said, Joe, why do you take so long to get to somebody when they're hurt? He said, well, learned a long time ago, if you take long enough, they're usually well by the time you get there.
Coach Ron Bargatze joins us. Coach B, can you confirm that piece of the conversation?
The one about flying into Auburn? Or
No, that one. You know what really hacked me off about that flight to Auburn? We were on little private planes. Coach Newton's plane had already landed, and I think it was Scott Drought who said, George is on that flight. George is on that plane. And man, when we landed, when that door opened, Coach Newton was like, enjoy your flight. I'll never forget that. So, Coach B, we got big doings today. Coming off of Brandon Miller's 30 points and 10 rebounds, you have constructed for us a list of the top 14, even though you told me it was 16, it was 14 that you constructed, of the top 14 players in this area who have ever gone on to college basketball careers. Am I close to saying this right?
Yeah, and in many cases on to the NBA. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration. There's probably 30 guys that could be on this list very easily, but when I have limitations, I have to stop somewhere.
Okay, Billy, let's bring up this list. And wow, this is an unbelievable 6. Coach B, kind of talk through them a little bit.
Well, fortunately, I got to see all these guys play, including Ronnie Lawson, when I was pretty young. He was a great player at Pearl and then went on to win a state championship at Cameron several years later. But Darius Garland, there's no question, he's proven it on every level. He was a point guard as a freshman at Brentwood Academy. He was a point guard at Vanderbilt till he got hurt. And then he's been a great point guard for the Cleveland Cavaliers since he got to the NBA. So Darius has a great resume. Right behind him and with possibilities of taking over that number 1 slot could be Brandon Miller. Still a little early to say a freshman in college getting that kind of a title is pretty tough. But I think if he stays healthy, he's probably going to be the number 1 draft choice at the end of this year. And then, of course, Ron Mercer, we all remember him. He had a great run through the Good Pasture and then heavily recruited, ended up in Kentucky, and then on to the Boston Celtics. Clyde Lee, you can't discount him. And, some of these guys will probably be better in their day than they would be right now. For instance, I think Clyde Lee having to play against a guy like Brandon Miller, who can go out on the floor and really get things done, would be pretty tough. But he had such an impact. Only had 2 firm scholarship offers, one to Lipscomb University and one to Vanderbilt, and the rest is history. He built the balconies at Memorial Gymnasium, went on and played several years, particularly with Golden State and the NBA. Ted the Hound McLean came along, was with that great 1966 Pearl team that won the state championship going away. And he was the leader and obviously played several years with the Kentucky Colonels and other teams in the what they call the league then?
ABA.
Yeah, the ABA, which merged, of course, with the NBA. And Ronnie Lawson was a terrific player. He dominated at every level, went to UCLA, broke a lot of records there, was a very, very good player. So that first 6 is pretty good. And there's also some guys coming right after them on this list who may be or could be just as good or better than they were.
Lee, the bottom 4, 5, and 6, did you play against any of that group?
No, I played with them like summertime. Of course, I knew Ronnie Lawson when he was coaching, but I was a little bit behind those guys.
Okay, Coach B, are we sort of saying the next group is second team, all Nashville, all mid-state? How are we trying to do this?
George, I think every guy on the list is a first teamer. We just had to divide them up a little bit here and there. Sometimes their pro career got them over the edge on the guys who were really great in high school and college and did not play in the professional ranks.
Okay, let's go to the second group. And of course, Brandon Wright, a quick career in college. Coach B, if he had stayed a little longer, what would have happened?
Legendary. He was a really, really good player. He won 4 state championships all 4 years he played at Brentwood Academy. Then, of course, he went on to play in the NBA for several years, and really a great guy. He does a lot with kids and really helped in the development of a lot of them. And, of course, Charles Davis. There's no question you could take this second group here and have a pretty good chance if you wanted to play against that first group. So Charles Davis coming out of McGavock at 1976 with a state championship. They had to play North High School 5 times that year, and North won the first 3, and McGavock won the last 2. But those games, I saw 4 of the 5 games that those 2 teams played against each other. Richard Rucker and his crew over at North, and of course Charlie D, Fred Harris, and all the guys that played together at McGavock. Trenton Hassel, man, I tell you what, you throw him in any lineup anywhere, he can play all over the court. He can guard 1 through 5. He can play point guard. He can play power forward. Whatever you want out of Trenton Hassel, you get. So he's a heck of a player. And then Calvin Garrett, really great player at East High School, went on and played at Austin P, could score so many different ways. And then bringing up the rear and will make every open shot he has is Mike Rhodes, who just dominated in high school. Probably the most interesting game I ever saw Mike play, and I saw him play probably 30 games in his high school career. Knoxville Catholic on a Friday afternoon in Murfreesboro.
I was there.
Yeah, Perry County and Mike Rhodes was down 16 points in the 3rd period, and Mike scored 17 straight points in the game, not just for his team, but 17 in the game. One of the best performances I've ever seen on the high school level.
Is he, Coach B, I've said this on the air, and it embarrasses him every time he hears it, and some of it's biased. He and I are very good friends. Is he the best pure shooter of all of this stuff?
Well, you could line up a lot of great shooters there, but if we're playing a horse game, I'm taking Mike Rhodes of any guy I've seen play in Tennessee, and he can either shoot them straight in or he can bank them in from wherever he wants to shoot.
And
he was a phenomenal shooter.
If there had been a 3-point field goal back then, late 70s, early 80s, is it possible he'd be Vanderbilt's all-time leading scorer?
Well, I think he finished 3rd when he left. He was in 3rd place, but no question about it, because he made so many of his shots from long range. So Mike was a phenomenal player, and I believe he could go out right now and get about 20 if Lee Fowler were guarding him.
No question about it.
Columbia versus Perry County, that would be a big great matchup.
Man.
Town and country on the same team.
Oh, listen,
yeah.
It was, and I was in school with both of them, and have had a long history with both of them. Let's go to, I hate this 3rd team because I don't mean this. These guys, Coach B's right. These aren't 3rd team anything. Coach B, I remember going with Kevin Stallings one night up to Portland, Tennessee to see Corey Brewer.
Well, not only was he great at Portland, but he won 2 NCAA championships at Florida back-to-back. And another guy who could play 94 feet, any position you need. He was a really, really nice player. Boy, he was so quick for a guy his size, about 6'6".
John Jenkins got some Mike Rhodes in him.
Hey, let me tell you, John Jenkins in that horse game can give Mike a run for his money. That'd be a great spectacle to watch. And Sean Marion, a high school teammate of Trenton Hassel, both of them were excellent players, and they got beat by Cleveland High School in the first round of the state tournament the year they played, 1996 or so. And but Sean Marion ended up playing great in the college level and bounced around the NBA for several teams. And man, he didn't have a neck, but man, his head could find a way over the rim because he was really a jumper.
Coach B, I've got a question for you. I grew up in Arlington, Texas, and big Dallas Mavericks fan, so obviously very familiar with Sean Marion, and got to see a great career that he had for the Mavs. But would love to just know, I mean, when he was in high school and had that funny looking quick jumper of his, was that a knock that people felt like that could keep him from doing great things, or was he just so good at so many other things that everyone said in Nashville watching him growing up, it doesn't matter how this kid shoots?
Yeah, he was a real slasher. He shot that watch pocket one-hander from about mid-range and was really a good shooter. But, so many loose balls, rebounds, really a great undersized rebounder, but a slasher that really made things happen. And to put he and Trenton Hassel on the court together, both really, really great all-around players, would be something else.
Coach B, who is the name you left off that you feel the worst about, that truly belongs?
I made a list of those. Lee Fowler, one of our guys here, is on that list. Guys that are really close. Probably, I'd say Kirk Haston would be a guy that would be just outside the list. Carlos Groves from East Robertson.
Ooh.
Put away a lot of opponents going to the state championship, playing there, and guys like let me look at my list here. Kerry Hammonds, who went on to play out of Siegel High School, went on to play with MTSU. Kirk Haston, Philip Hutchison, who was college basketball's leading scorer for just a short time till John Pierce came along. Fred Jenkins from Columbia, a really, really good player, went on to play at UT. Monk Montgomery, how about him from Kittrell, Tennessee? Talking about a guy who could shoot it and really score the ball. Phenomenal player. Tyrus Bainham from East High School.
Oh, wow.
Really nice player.
Yes.
Alex Porthers, Northeast and Clarksville, an excellent player, and kind of disappointed a little bit on the college level, but in high school, he really dominated. Another really, really great athlete, maybe as good an athlete as I've ever seen anywhere, is Eddie Sherlin, who played at Gallatin High School. He played in a famous game when Union High School from Gallatin went against in the finals of the regional tournament, went against Springfield, where Bill Ligon for Gallatin Union and Eddie Sherlin from Gallatin High School, mates in the same town. There was a lot of talk about writing a story just when integration was coming along. A great story about their friendship that overrode their rivalry on the court. David Vaughn Jr. and David Vaughn Sr., Cameron High School for David Jr., and of course at Whites Creek High School for David Jr. Very similar type bodies. I called Doc Shelton last night and talked to him a little bit about that. All right, Doc, who would you take? David Sr., David Jr.? He said, well, I don't know. He said, maybe I'd take David Jr. because he's a little more powerful, a little stronger inside. But those two guys were neck and neck, and either one of them could have been on there. Very, very good players. Tommy Springer.
Oh, absolutely.
Great high school player.
Yes.
Probably could take it baseline to baseline on the dribble as quickly as anybody I've ever seen. Really gave people matchup problems. And Charles Davis and Tommy were big rivals. And Tommy had a little short jumper to go off the edge of the rim, barely roll off the rim in the last shot of the game. And so Advance was Glencliff Advance. Charles' team went on to win the state championship. But for that missed jump shot that Tommy made a great play, put it on the rim, and it just barely fell off. Tyler Smith from Pulaski, from Giles County, was an awfully good player.
Man.
There's a lot of people. Willie Brown. What about the guy that brought integration to Father Ryan High School and laid the groundwork for all the teams that came in the late 60s after them? So we could go on and on. That's a short list.
Coach B, I got one. What about Ron Slay from Pearl?
Close. Ron Slay was really a good player. I thought he was a little bit undisciplined as a player in high school, and but he made things happen. He really a great rebounder, great around the basket. I don't think he had the perimeter skills, but he sure made things happen at University of Tennessee, created lots of problems while playing in the SEC for other teams.
He definitely ruffled some feathers.
That's okay.
Coach B, let's do this. We'll go to the break, and then Watson and Michael will kind of take over with both you and Lee Fowler and take it wherever you want to do it as far as the world of college basketball. These are the college basketball insiders, and I think off that exhibition, you can see why. They are a wealth of knowledge. Please stay with us. I know it's getting colder. You're not thinking about golf. However, if you're planning an event for next year, let me suggest golf through Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. It's perfect for hosting a corporate or a charitable outing. They've got everything in place to make your event a rousing success. To get more info, call 615-847-5074 or go online to riversidegolflinks.com.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd. The goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Don't miss a minute of the action this season. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to get your seats today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
Jody Jones has as nice a dental facility as you'll find anywhere. Let's go in and take a look. Are you in the market for a new dentist? Maybe you're new to Nashville? Well, the place to go is Jody Jones Dentistry at 55 Music Square East, and their new facility is absolutely state-of-the-art. Jody mixes quality with comfort for the perfect dental experience. He's trusted for his creative design and committed to both the function and aesthetics of your smile. Jody is simply the total package. Don't wait. Make an appointment now at 615-259-5100. We are talking college basketball with the college basketball insiders. Ron Bargatze, you heard, 15 minutes of why he is the foremost expert on basketball in the Middle Tennessee area. My buddy Lee Fowler is no slouch either, former chairman of the NCAA Men's Selection Committee back in 2001. Watson, the floor is yours. Take it wherever you want.
Oh, I think we lost you, Watson. We're not getting you.
You got me now?
Oh, we got you.
We got you.
Okay. Ronnie and Lee, what about Perry Wallace? Where would Perry sit in that?
Well, I think Perry might be the third or fourth best player on his high school team. You had James Douglas, who left Nashville and went to Memphis State and had a great career there, but really, really great player. Walter Fisher, another player who's very. You had Ted McClain, Walter Fisher. You had James Douglas, Perry Wallace, and probably a guy that who can name the fifth starter on that team.
I can't, but I remember that team well. That was
Joe Herbert. Now living in Murfreesboro. He was the fifth starter on that team, and what a great team it was.
Yeah, and I also enjoyed watching Perry play at Vanderbilt. It was Just fun. Lee, I don't know how you felt about that, but I went into the hall with Perry, and just a class act, just a really class guy, and that shows me, guys, and both of you all, Ronnie, forever, both of you we all have been. Tennessee high school basketball has been a lot better than given credit for through the years, if you ask me. I think it can compare with a lot of the states around it. And I just don't know if it's gotten enough credit through the years for what really the athletes that have come through high school basketball in this state.
Well, we've had some, Lee, go on, Lee.
Especially if you throw Chattanooga, Knoxville, and Memphis in as the state of Tennessee, you've got an unbelievable amount of guys that have played at high level at universities and also into the NBA and really Hall of Famers, some Hall of Famers in the NBA. So Ronnie did a great job of the Middle Tennessee area, but remember, Tennessee has really been good in basketball across the state, and Ronnie's been able to see most of it because they all come to Murfreesboro or wherever they play the state tournament every year.
Well, and he also recruited quite a few of those too.
He did.
That's the way that I can remember Ronnie as he recruited you.
Yes,
Ronnie recruited a whole lot of that list is up there.
Yeah.
Well, got a few no's too.
Yeah, I'd say you do. I mean, when I heard you say you had seen so-and-so play 30 times, I think it was Mike or one of them. I said, yep, you're sitting there recruiting your fanny off what you were doing. You didn't just go as a fan to watch that game. I can tell you that right now. You were spending Vanderbilt money at the time.
Well, in February the 28th, I owed property taxes in Perry County.
You got a good deal on them too. I talked to, hey, Ronnie, you'll appreciate this. I talked to Wimp Sanderson the other day, and Wimp told me, he said, I saw you play 30 times in high school in the senior year, bought your family steak on most occasions when I was in town. Why didn't you just tell me you weren't coming to Alabama? And so that was a different day and time, and they could take you out to dinner. They could wine and dine you, and there weren't the rules that there are now. Of course, now I don't think there are any rules, but over the years, they couldn't do that sort of stuff. So Ronnie was always there. I can tell you, you always ran into Ronnie Bargatze, in any gym in Middle Tennessee or anywhere else, you'd run into Ronnie.
I don't, not to give him the big head, but I don't think there was a better recruiter anywhere than Ronnie. He worked at it really hard, and he was a really good judge of talent. And just like you, Lee, he was a magnet. The guys just cling to him. And I think that's a big part of why you came to Vanderbilt. And again, I'm not trying to give Ronnie a big head. I'm just telling the truth here. He's one of the best recruiters, I think, college basketball recruiters that's ever been.
And I would have loved to sit in the room with Ronnie when he did his travel reports to Pete Naylor. As many nights as he was on the road, I bet those were some great meetings.
Oh, I bet he got 30 cents on the dollar.
That's right.
Well, Pete Naylor was a tough guy to deal with. I remember Alvin Adams, think about the F Troop. And until January of that year when the F Troop were all seniors, Alvin Adams was coming to Vanderbilt. His mom passed away. She was a professor at Central State University in Oklahoma. And we thought sure Alvin was coming to Nashville. But like you said, you could take guys out to eat when they came to town. And Alvin Adams always wanted to go to the Jolly Ox. And the Jolly Ox on Murfreesboro Road was where he ate dinner about 4 times during that year. And he always ordered 2 New York strips. And I thought Pete Naylor was going to have a heart attack. It was
So I would think on those nights, Ronnie, you probably didn't eat. You gave him your steak.
Of course I did. I knew to go eat somewhere else down at McDonald's before I got the Jolly Ox.
It's hard to get anything by Mr. Pete Naylor. I can tell you that right now.
Hey, one thing
we've all 3 of us, 4 of us, those 3 of us sitting here could tell Pete Naylor stories. Lee and I as players, and I even caught him a little bit as in my early coaching time, but just I know the fans don't want to probably sit and listen to it, but I just start laughing when that name comes up because I'll say this: he didn't call anybody. He treated us all exactly the same.
And for those who don't know it, he was the longtime business manager of Vanderbilt Athletics. And, I remember when Mike Ditka said George Halas throws around nickels like manhole covers. You could have substituted one name for another and let it go from there. Michael, why don't you jump in here for a minute? And I'm guessing you're going to get into some hoops.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to talk a little bit of current college hoops. Guess two questions for both of you guys. The first, I would just love to hear, your evaluation and ranking right now of the top 4 or 5 college basketball conferences in the country where you see conferences above the other. And obviously some might be more top heavy, but from top to bottom, the top 4 or 5 conferences and kind of how you evaluate that.
Ronnie, I can start out. I think we're finally starting to see who the better teams are. As Hugh Durham so aptly put it from time to time, he said, I'd rather play nobody early and not know how good a team I've got than play a bunch of people and realize I'm not very good. So we're starting to realize that some of these teams that jumped out to 11 and 12 and 1 or 13 and 2, and all of a sudden they started playing like programs with like recruiting budgets and players, they're struggling, and LSU is one of those that's kind of struggle. I think that you're going to see some teams that we kind of thought were better than they were, and I also think that the ACC in North Carolina got off to a horrible start. They had a team like North Carolina who was supposed to have everybody back and be a shoe-in for the Final Four. I mean, but they weren't playing like they did at the end of last year, and so it's taken them a while to get back to playing well. That league's pretty good. Most of the leagues, like always, are pretty good. Top 5 or 6 teams are really are where the talent is in the ACC, the SEC, the Big East has some really good teams. So I think that even though it's coming a little bit later, we're starting to see teams that really didn't play many people early, and they're struggling now that they're getting into conference play.
Coach B, is Big 12 number 1?
Oh, I think it is probably. If you look at just the strength of teams, you got great individual players, but it's hard to talk about college basketball right now without talking about the effect of the transfer portal and the effect of the NIL. You see a guy like Will Richard who comes in and was a very, very good freshman for Belmont last year, and he's doing a very good job playing at Florida this year as a starter and as a star player. But look at all the top 20 teams and see how many of them have rosters that do not include someone who played elsewhere last year, and it's about to kill coaches. That NIL deal, as well as the transfer portal, just drives coaches crazy. I don't think I could have, if I'd been coaching in that time, you build relationships and you get players and you stay close to those players forever as lifetime friends. And that doesn't happen in the world of basketball right now because it's and the great recruiting grounds for the big teams right now, the big schools, are the mid-majors, where guys are very good, probably as good because of an injury or lack of notoriety, end up at a mid-major, and that's where the big guys are getting a lot of their players now.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And I guess one more question, and this could be honestly a dumb question, but when I'm a college football guy, I played college football, and obviously when you look, you can see, college football is going to basically 2 mega conferences. Eventually, it's going to be the SEC and the Big Ten, right? But you look at basketball at college hoops, and you've got the Big 12 is really strong, the ACC strong, you've got mid majors that are strong. It doesn't look like that's necessarily the case in college basketball, but also, saw a report. I mean, it was a rumor right a couple weeks ago about Houston Gonzaga maybe coming to the Big 12 in college hoops. I guess I'm just trying to wonder, what is the future of what the conferences might look like in college basketball? I feel like in college football, we've got a pretty good idea. What do you speculate that it's going to look like in college hoops? I know the mid-majors being in college basketball is a big effect in that.
Well, one thing about the affiliations are that the football conferences, football is going to have a lot to dictate, and Lee can probably speak to this better than I can, but football is the secret potion in the equation on who ends up in what conference because of the money involved. And I mean, look at, all the conferences used to be totally geographical, and now they're crisscrossing each other like an Atlanta. What do you call the guy? The guys in the tower. You know, you see all those planes coming and going. A lot of them are football teams playing each other 1,000 miles from home in the same conference.
Yeah, I think that, as always, money is going to dictate that. Money, when it becomes divisible by too many teams and people get less money, then they're not going to be interested in expanding. So I think, there may be a conference at some point with 20 in it, but I would doubt it. It's when you start dividing by that many, you better have really good additions to your conference to get more money. And if you're not getting more money for everybody in the conference, then it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to expand. So it's all about the money. And Ronnie's right. Football kind of drives the train because that's still a nuance of the 12-team deal and how much they're going to make off that. And so I think it'll be football driving the train, and basketball will kind of follow. But there's no question that the money will drive it. And as long as you can make more money and more teams, then they'll do it. And when that stops, they won't do it.
I want y'all to look before we leave at what Joe Lunardi has had out there recently. Arkansas gagged one last night at Missouri in the final few minutes. He's got them as a 6, got Tennessee as a 2, Alabama as a 1. Here's the one that I about fell out of the chair. He's got Kentucky in the first 4 out at the moment, Florida next 4 out. Wow, Coach B, when was the last time Kentucky was first 4 out?
Well, I bet they got to get in before they can get out. And right now they're not in. They've got to get more Tennessee win if they're going to Tennessee type wins.
Yeah.
If they're going to stay in the mix.
Guys, thank you both. Coach B, I know you put a lot of work into that list. I really appreciate it. Lee, I know your daughter put in a lot of work to get you on the air.
Do you see my painting behind me, George? See that painting on the wall?
I can see a little bit of it.
I did that. Paint by numbers.
Really?
Paint by numbers.
No kidding. Good for you.
That's right. You got to give them something when you're leaving. I don't have any money to give them, so that's the best I could do.
Yeah, it's a tough life. Both of you, appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
See you.
Coach Ron Bargatze, Lee Fowler, they are the college basketball insiders. After the break, we'll go stat of the day, and then we'll be joined by former Titans coach Jeff Fisher. This is going to be fun. Stick around. You're watching The George Plaster Show. Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? How?
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports. And then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general: baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised. And, of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Pennington Distilling Company was founded in 2011 with the goal of creating original craft spirits that embody the same character as the city they were born in, Nashville, Tennessee. From grain to glass, every step is taken to produce spirits of exceptional craftsmanship and quality. Pick up one of their award-winning products like Pickers Vodka, Davidson Reserve Whiskey, and Whisper Creek Tennessee Sip and Cream today. Or stop by the distillery in West Nashville and the Nations. Follow them on social media and online at PenningtonDistillingCo.com.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It's now time for Stat of the Day. It is brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards in the beautiful downtown at Shelbyville, Tennessee, 204 East Depot Street, Tuesday through Fridays when they're open, noon to 5, and also Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call at 931-492-4304. That's 931-492-4304. All right, let's see what Michael's got cooked up for Stat of the Day today. As we scroll through here, we've only got George up on the screen. There's Michael, and there's Watson. All right. Which NBA players are in the top 3 for most instances in leading their respective teams outright in points, assists, and rebounds in a single game? Little hint, they're all current players.
You got to help me. Yeah. What does that mean?
So let's say I played in the NBA and led my team that night in points, rebounds, and assists. That would be one instance. So who has done that the most over their career? Does that make sense? Who's got the most instances for times that they've led their team?
For instance, we would eliminate Russell Westbrook, who has no idea what an assist is.
He did average a triple-double one year.
Did he?
To his credit.
I mean, it would be an easy one to say LeBron is in there somewhere. Watson, anything that you're thinking, or are you leaving this one to me?
What about Luka?
Luka Duka. Okay.
Got a way to jump on that one.
Mm-hmm. Look, I'm having trouble. The mind isn't opening it up real well.
It's a guy that does it all. I mean, he's 2. I guess you got 2 more to go.
What do you mean we got 2 more to go?
I mean, hint. LeBron is in there. You're 1 for 1 on that one.
So LeBron is in, but Luka Duka is not.
Luka Duka is not.
Okay.
But it's a guy that does it, that can do it all for his team. Points, assists, rebounds.
Well, that wouldn't include James Harden. He has no idea what an assist is. God, I'm drawing a blank in this thing. I'm going to go Nikola Jokic in Denver because he's a very good passer, obviously gets a lot of points and rebounds. Watson, anybody else you're throwing out there?
Nah, I can't. Not into it here. I got to.
Okay.
We've
got a brain
we're
cramp
a small
today.
window, and I can't get motivated right now.
Yeah. Okay. Just release the answers.
LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and
Jokic.
that's Nikola Jokic,
The Joker.
right? Yeah, the Joker.
You
Russell
were all over it.
Westbrook?
Yeah, the Joker tied him last night. I think he led his team in all categories.
Okay.
So, y'all, that was
an interesting question.
The effort and the energy was not there. Maybe it was the question, but it's got to go both ways here.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I got the thumbs up. Jeff Fisher is with us.
Yes, he is, George.
For years, he and I would do these phone interviews. I remember the first one that we ever did. He was the coach of the Houston Oilers. And at the very end, he told us, he said, y'all asked pretty good questions, which I really appreciated at the time because we were not a pro football market. Anyway, Jeff is on by phone with us. Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Watson, how you doing?
Jeff, I'm good, man. Good to hear your voice.
Yeah. So I got the last maybe 30, 40 seconds of that, and I totally agree with whatever you guys were saying with respect to your opinions regarding the NBA players. So I'm in total agreement with you. What's been going on?
So you're not a big NBA fan?
Oh, I am. There's a lot of other stuff going on in life, So, my brain space doesn't have a lot of space for, a lot of other things right now. So, but it's all good. We're having fun, enjoying what we're doing, and I'm happy to be on your show.
Well, thank you for doing this. You know why everybody and his brother is wanting to get you on, because they're kind of connecting this Ran Carthon situation, the new general manager of the Titans, with you from the St. Louis Rams days. So kind of give me a capsule comment or two on what the Titans are getting.
Well, they're getting the perfect guy. Now this is based on my experience with him, and trust me, we had some of those, late evenings in the draft room type of discussions for several years. And he really, I believe that, he has had a lot to do, at least been a contributor towards what they've done out there in San Francisco. He's not a, attention guy. He's not a credit guy. He just works. And he has the unique ability to evaluate players and then read his report. You can literally shut your eyes and know exactly what you're getting in the player, because he's so well adapted at evaluating these guys. And I think largely across the board, that's becoming a lost art. And so I think pairing him up with Mike, I think they're going to do some great things together here. I think it's a great hire. I really, from a personality standpoint, he's going to be there. He's going to answer your questions. He's a straight shooter. He's a hard worker. He has good relationship with the players, understands building, and not only just putting a team together, but sustaining a team. And so his mind's always out there in the future. And, if you say, hey, help me with, because there were a number of times where, I would reach out to him and say, hey, do me a favor, do these 5 receivers and, just rank them for me. And, we'll get back to you in a week type of thing. And wow, I mean, the time that he spends and everything, really pretty impressive. So great. He's got a great resume. He's young. I think these guys are going to do some really good things together.
Jeff, for me, your recommendation here carries a lot of weight in a deal I don't really know a lot about. I've never met him. Obviously, this is a new name. And so what you're saying carries a lot of weight. it was easy for all of us to connect the dots and say, whoa, wait a minute, St. Louis Rams, Jeff Fisher was there. So different people have reached out to you media-wise. Did Amy Strunk ever reach out and connect this dot with you?
You know, if anything went on between me and the organization, I'm going to keep it at that. I'm not saying yes or no, but so next question. How's that, George?
Watson, how was that for dodging?
I think that's the perfect answer myself. Way to go, football coach. I like it.
Thank you. All right.
Okay.
So look, I'll say this. I know it was a hard year, and you know, from a lot of standpoint, a lot of different perspectives, things that happened during the year, especially starting off with you know John leaving when he did, and then I just am so excited about this hire. I think I said this. I think it was yesterday that Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson down south, they're playing this weekend. They've done a great job this last year. They have no idea how hard it's going to be over time to compete against these two. This is going to make their jobs tough. Now, there's not a whole lot going on that Indy can stand on right now, nor Houston. So, you know, this is a two-team race in the division, and just watch out and see what happens, you know, by the time training camp comes around.
Jeff, later, after Watson and Michael Cindric ask you some things, then I'm going to ask you one more that's just football, and I want you to answer it. I don't want any dodgeball, okay?
Okay, that's fine. I'll do my best.
Beautiful. Watson, what do you got for him?
Jeff, this has always been real interesting to me as I've gotten more into, since I retired, to get into the NFL and watch its workings. And it's a great comparison to me, the way we got players in college to the way you guys, and you've done both, but the way you guys did it in the NFL. Talk us through how it works, how the general manager and the head football coach work together. Because, Jeff, when we were in college, we made all those decisions. There wasn't a general manager. You evaluated, you went after who you wanted. It was all on you. How in the world do you make that work, and how important? It looks to me like it may be the number one most important piece, that those two guys really work together in just about every way possible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's things that go on a day-to-day basis. For example, if you get somebody that unfortunately goes down for a couple weeks, you need to move someone off the practice squad and then move somebody into his place, and that's where the GM and the head coach, provided that they're on the same page, that's the GM. He does that stuff for the head coach, because the head coach during the season doesn't have time to evaluate and which guy would be the best guy and stuff like that. So he's going to handle that aspect of player personnel and player acquisition. Now, keep this in mind, Watson. He's doing this year round. The coaches are going to get involved, particularly once the season is over, through the draft, through pro free agency, still have some say, as you get into camp, and then, they get into their football. So, I would get to the point where, you're gonna see we'll talk from the draft standpoint. The head coach is gonna see, pretty much the entire first round, second round. And, when I say see, you're going to have eyes on them. You're going to do multiple games, and you're going to be able to put your own grade on these guys. Prior to that process, though, everybody's talking about the players that they've seen this past fall and so on and so forth. So what I'm saying is you got a GM that's going to do it year round. You got a coach that's going to do it for 4, 5, 6 months. They got to be on the same page. The coach isn't realistically going to get in the draft room and in the 6th round and stand up and know the difference between the two guards that are left on the board. So he's got to rely on somebody to help him and make those decisions later on. Here's the key. The key is working together. Every head coach in the National Football League would, if he got an opportunity, would require, request, or demand, depending on, his situation, final say. So that's final say in the draft. That's final say on the training camp roster. Final say at 53. Final say at 47 or whatever they're doing. 49 on Sundays. Okay, that doesn't always happen, and to me, in this day and age, with the information that's available and everything, I couldn't see that working. What will work is if you have two guys collaborating on the same page, agreeing to disagree. If we can't agree on this player, we'll go on to the next player, and handle their own, minor disagreements on players and philosophy and things like that. So I don't know if I've gone too many directions there. Rand's biggest challenge right now, he knows the roster. Obviously, he knows it much better than he did 2 weeks ago. But he's got to really get to know this, and the way you do that is with the discussions with the scouts and the coaches as you get into the pre-draft stuff, and then identify your needs as soon as you can. Look at the market. Is it free agency? Is it the draft? Can we fill the need? How are we going to fill those needs? And then, as I've said numerous times, Rand understands the importance of making sure on a daily basis you're trying to upgrade the bottom part of your roster. And so to me, go ahead.
The other piece that I wanted to ask you with this, Jeff, is, to me, I don't see how in the world they have to be on the same page philosophically for what they're going to do offensively, defensively. The example to me would be, you got an outside linebacker that's a 50 kind of guy, and then if you're a 4-down guy, a difference in a read 5 technique and a 3 technique, a nose guard over in a 50 look. There's just such differences to me, Jeff. The GM has got to feel and understand philosophically what the head coach is going to do and what type of player it takes to be in the system that he's going to run. Am I overstating that? Or is that right?
No, that is dead on there. And those are the discussions. The GM, his responsibility is to go get your type of player. But you have to understand what that type of player is. You gave the example of the end and versus the rusher. Well, how about the corner? Are you guys going to play a lot of zone coverage? You can base it off your too deep zone stuff. Then your corner's a different athlete. Then are you going to be more of a man-to-man press kind of shut down? And I'm going to go get you a different corner. So they're going to spend a great deal of time between now, combine and draft. And the sooner the better they all get on the same page is, what kind of traits do you want? I mean, are we going to be a inside outside zone road grading team? We're going to use a lot of pullers or a combination thereof, so that the philosophy it starts with the coach, and then obviously the GM. He will support him in getting the best players he possibly can to fill those needs.
Yeah, and the last piece of that to me, Jeff, don't you think that this offensive coordinator hire for Mike is very important to know philosophically where Mike's headed? And the GM will also have to be a part of this and understanding what they come in with. I'm sitting there listening to him talk about interviewing Kansas City Chief guys, and then interviewing guys that are more in what Mike has been doing offensively. I think that's a huge decision that Mike's got to make before they jump into taking anybody in free agency or the draft.
Well, it's a really important point. It's like, I won't name names, but we had a receiver that we had up real high, and he was a free agent, and he had about 120 catches, but 87 of them were slants.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a slant in your offense, he isn't going to help you.
Yep.
And if you don't, you're going to put it in, you're kidding yourself. So, you gotta fit those pieces. But I see them. We all know what Titan football is all about. under Mike Graves.
Yeah.
And it's about running the football and playing defense and, and keeping people on their toes on special teams. But they're committed to it. Tampa you imagine if Tampa ran the ball this year? No. I mean, 50, 60 times pass attempts with Brady. Are you kidding me? So they want to run the football. Rand understands that. He'll get the right pieces and everything. And you got to project and you got to look at your money and, all that stuff. He's got really good people in the organization, to help him with that.
Jeff, got a couple questions for you. The first, talk to me a little bit more. You mentioned it, at the beginning of being on, just what Carthen's like, but when you talk to me about general managers and kind of how they even evaluate talent. Are there philosophical differences, how they might watch a player, or the makeup of what goes into their opinion? Talk to me a little bit. You're fired up about Carthen, and tell me a little bit more as to a little bit of his background and what he's like from a decision-making standpoint, a philosophical standpoint, and the way that he goes about evaluating players.
Yeah, I mean, Rand's going to do it. He's going to do his research on a player, and by that I mean it starts with the character and the personal, and then you get into the background and the behavioral, and then all those things. And he's going to be sophisticated as far as those types of the manner in which you obtain that information. So he's going to get that information, okay, and then he's going to watch the player. And then he's gonna watch other players, in the same position group, and then he's gonna rank them. And that's kind of, I don't want to simplify it, but here's the point: is that Rand's gonna look at the tape. There's people in the league right now that aren't watching much tape. They're just spending their time trying to get everybody else's opinion on one issue, whether it's a player or whatever it is, namely a player. And so if you poll 20 of your buddies and 20 different references, and you get 40 different people saying, yeah, this guy's a top 3 pick, well, then that GM puts him in the top 3. So Rand's going to look at it himself. That to me, that's I don't mean to simplify it. I don't mean to say most GMs are doing that, but there's so much information out there available. But there's what the film study of the individual player, whether it's a prospect coming out of college, and the film study of the maintaining grades on NFL players is so important. And you got to pick the right games, and you got to see a left tackle on the road against a good pass rusher. And you got to be careful about projecting. Yeah. Well, this guy's a guard, but he's got tackle feet and he's got long arms. We'll take him as a tackle. Well, you got to be careful with those things. He's not going to. Rand is really smart, and he's going to do whatever he possibly can to just eliminate any mistakes. Now, it's an imperfect science, and there's going to be so. And Rand's smart enough to know that, hey, you can't hang on to a mistake too long. Yeah. Now you got to acknowledge it and move on, but you all got to do it together.
Yeah. And one more for you. Talk to me a little bit about, and I know it's never one way or the other, but, scouting and this whole process of creating a team and even drafting a guy. It's like, you're basically an investigator going into personal life and upbringing and all those things. When you see guys that teams whiff on, or that, people don't evaluate properly, do you feel like it's more of, this guy can really play, but we got blinded by a lot of his background stuff that scared us away from it? Or is it kind of the opposite, which is you look so much into his play that you ignore the background, and that ends up coming to bite you? What usually gets in the way of evaluation there?
Well, it's good. It's a real good question. Let me give you a visual here. If you got guys that have behavioral background or made bad decisions, you're gonna identify those guys. And if you got a guy with a grade, whatever your grading system is, with the exact same grade and you guys and everybody feels like it's the same player. We all agree we're going to take him in the third round. You're going to take one without the character issue over the guy with the character issue that you had rated in the third round. Now, once the third round comes and goes, okay, now you have already had the conversation. Okay, if he drops to 5, is he worth the risk? So, and then minimizing that risk. I mean, we had a lot of players over time that, that had some issues, but once we got to the bottom line and did the research, it was like all 4 of us would have done the same thing in that situation. So, you got to do the research, and you can't just, and you got to know who to talk to. You got to have relationships with the colleges and the training rooms and all that stuff. And I'm not by no means suggesting that you bypass or circumvent, HIPAA, but you need to be able to find out whatever information you can on the kid. I mean, there were some prospects that I sent almost like a detail, two or three person detail, or at least one person down to a hometown. 3 different occasions, and we're interviewing elementary school coaches.
Wow.
So, and teachers. And so, that part of it, it's a whole different department within scouting now, or it should be. So Rand gets all that. It's a complicated thing. It's hard to for me to, in the short period of time, tell you everything that he's going to do. And don't misunderstand me. John understood this stuff as well. Yeah. I mean, John was a really talented personnel guy, just didn't work out,
Jeff,
and sometimes things just don't work out.
Jeff, last thing for you. And I ask this because I think as long as I've known you, not only did you care about the team you coached, but you cared about the game of football. I personally have come to the opinion 17 is too many games. Bodies are getting just absolutely shredded. And if we're going to play 17, then we have got to increase the number of players on a roster. Do you buy that, or do you see this differently?
Well, I mean, it is a long haul. Times have changed. I mean, we go back to the day when, you had 6 preseason games and you had, every practice was in pads. That's because you had no off-season program to where we are now, where, I mean, there are numerous players on every team that don't get a live rep in a preseason game before the season starts. Now, you try to simulate it and do all those kind of things, but you can't. So, I would agree 17 is a lot. They just gotta, you get frustrated because, it's all collectively bargained. And the one thing that did pretty much hold true, I think, this year is if you look at these teams that are going into the weekend, by and large, these are young teams. These are not old teams that, where a team reached out and signed, a handful of quality free agents that were in there in the upper, towards the downside, the back end of their career, that were still playing at a high level, but the injury factor increases significantly with age. And yes, you're going to have those, anomalies, but it does that. And when your team gets old quick, and you start having problems specifically up front, things can go sideways in a hurry. And that's where, I don't think that that there's enough opportunity to develop young players. Year 2, year 3, they should be there. And by year 4, I mean, you got a player at the peak of his career. And so player development's always been an issue, but I think it's a long season, and I think teams need to take a look at their overall age and the injury risk, because when coaches get kicked to the curb because they didn't win enough games because they had players hurt, people don't talk about it a week after they get fired. And it's just the reality of the game. You can't, some injury years you just cannot overcome. But if you're trending and you're building and you're sustaining, then hopefully ownership gives the head coach and the GM another opportunity, and you bounce back. And that's why you've seen both extremes in the league, the continuity and extremes in Baltimore and Seattle and Philly and Kansas City, and then you see these other clubs that are just, one and done every year. And they're really never going to get good. And so, we can go on this topic forever, guys. But the bottom line is this: Rand gets it, Mike gets it. We got a lot of good people in the organization that get it. And I think Rand is the right guy for the job.
Jeff, thank you for taking the time to come on with us. Really nice of you to do this, and appreciate it. We'll talk here down the road.
Looking forward to it, guys. Have a great day.
That's former Titans coach Jeff Fisher joining us on the show. We'll go to the break, and then a few 100,000 words about Aaron Rodgers. Imagine that. We're going to psychoanalyze his babble. Stay with us.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Scholar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is simple. I chose Hermitage Strike and Spare. They were amazing. Great food, great bowling, and a staff that's ready to go the extra mile. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5665.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Attention Vanderbilt fans. The Nashville Predators are continuing their College Night series, and Vanderbilt Night is Thursday, January the 26th. Students, alumni, and fans are invited to celebrate. College Night series ticket packages include a Predators game ticket and a limited edition co-branded hat. Tickets can be purchased at NashvillePredators.com/College Nights. Anchor down. Late word out of Oxford, Mississippi, that Oklahoma State quarterback Spencer Sanders transferring, and he's about to be an Ole Miss Rebel. Watson, that's an interesting mix right there.
I think that fits Lane's top guy. That's what he wants the athletic guys. That fits him to the T. That's a good mesh right there.
And Jackson Dart is still there, so there's probably going to be a little battle there.
Yeah, I bet old Jackson.
I don't think he'd be going after this guy if he thought he had his man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dart wasn't necessarily flying colors.
Couldn't make the plays throwing the ball when he had to throw it. He
Yeah.
couldn't make the plays. I think he's hunting another one big time.
So let's go around the room. Does anybody believe Aaron Rodgers is retiring? Watson.
I really don't give a rat, to be very honest. I think Aaron Rodgers, this time of year, he does it every year.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't keep your attention with his play, then he finds other ways to keep you talking about him. And I just get to where I don't even want to talk about him. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't personally think he'll retire. I think he's think back, George, in the last 3 years you and I have been together doing this.
It's all
He's
the
done this
same
every year.
stuff.
Every single year he does this. And he usually does it when they have been disappointing within the season, and he kind of throws it off on everybody else. I don't know if I want to stay a part of this and that kind of stuff. And I just don't appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll take that one too, Watson. I'm in the same boat as you, honestly. I think it's at the point now that we're not going to hold our breath. You know, I'm not sitting around all day waiting to see what he does. It's going to be interesting. I'm trying to imagine a team that he goes to that he would go to that would immediately be a Super Bowl contender. I'm not saying there aren't any, but it's not. You know, Aaron Rodgers is a phenomenal talent. He's probably one of the most talented quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL. So not at all disrespecting his talent, but you get to the point, and is he still at that MVP caliber? Probably not. You know, he's still a great talent, but it's not the 33-year-old Aaron Rodgers that you felt like if there was a, foot that he had to put the ball in, 30 yards down the field, he could put it right there. I'm not holding my breath. I'm right there with you, Watson.
So what is the advantage this time around to this whole circus again? What is
he wants people to talk about him?
This is what
The
we're doing right
advantage is
now.
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers gets the advantage because he keeps everybody talking about him.
But let me ask you this, Watson. Is there a point when he first did it, he had everybody's attention, but it feels like he has cried wolf one time too many?
I hope so. I don't enjoy talking about it. And because you and I, there's no telling how many times we've talked about this, George, through the years. And I don't know. When does an organization finally just say, enough's enough, man? Let's just move on. I don't think they're ready to do that because he's too daggum good.
Yeah, I think he has the upper hand, and he's kind of playing with him.
He can still play. Is he what he was 5 years ago? Doubtful, but if he's put on the right team, he can still play. I'm not talking about his abilities, and I'm not talking about him because I don't know him. I'm talking about what he does. And I just think it hurts everybody but Aaron Rodgers to me, guys. It hurts everybody. It hurts his own organization. It hurts his teammates. They don't want to sit and listen to this. It hurts the NFL. The only one that gets anything out of this is Aaron, in my personal opinion, and it kind of it grows old, man.
Yeah, it really puts the organization in limbo. I mean, just talking with Jeff Fisher there about the role of a general manager. Can you imagine being the one trying to make decisions with the Packers when you have no idea Aaron Rodgers' future? You don't know, are we going to rebuild? Do I need to sign a couple receivers to make him happy? I mean, that's just. It's got to be exhausting for the Green Bay fan base and for the organization itself.
Well, I think one reason they drafted the guy they drafted that ticked Aaron off so much, they've heard this ever since he's been in the organization, and they get tired of it. So they tried to put one in place to where they just move him right up and play. I don't know if he's that good yet or not. It's also interesting to me, guys. It's amazing how it comes back to haunt you. Aaron Rodgers was loved sitting there when Brett Favre was there and waiting his turn and Brett coming back. Is Brett not coming back? Now, Brett didn't handle it like Aaron. He didn't. But finally, Aaron gets his shot and gets it going. And now Aaron is the Brett Favre, but I think he's even worse in handling it than Brett did.
Circle of life, Watson.
Circle of life, man. It comes back to get you.
Thank you, Elton John. Good song.
Yep.
Okay, after the break, Watson, guess what we've got?
I guess we're going to sit and listen to you pick another one tonight. Huh?
There's a winner in town, and you're looking at him.
Go for it.
Isn't that what Buddy Ryan said?
Buddy Ryan.
There's a winner in town, and you're looking at him. And then he got fired in Arizona. Stay tuned. We're going to try to make it 4 in a row. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Let's see if we can do it. Jody Jones has as nice a dental facility as you'll find anywhere. Let's go in and take a look. Are you in the market for a new dentist? Maybe you're new to Nashville? Well, the place to go is Jody Jones Dentistry at 55 Music Square East. And their new facility is absolutely state-of-the-art. Jody mixes quality with comfort for the perfect dental experience. He's trusted for his creative design and committed to both the function and aesthetics of your smile. Jody is simply the total package. Don't wait. Make an appointment now at 615-259-5100. Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports, and then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general: baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised, and of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd. The goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Don't miss a minute of the action this season. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to get your seats today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the George Plaster Show on this Thursday afternoon. Final few minutes of Watson for the week, so we're going to take advantage of that. But we got Plaster's Bet of the Day coming right up, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. They are lawyers that you can trust. Give them a call at 615-242-9000. That's 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. As George said, he is in Fuego. Let's check out what happened last night. Missouri had a huge win over an Arkansas team that has lost their last 4 games in a row. and they don't look like they're in the best spot.
They gagged.
Did you see the foul call at the end?
Ew, it was bad.
He didn't even touch the guy.
You're talking about what should have been an intentional foul.
No. This was later in the game on a shot. There's a fadeaway shot.
It's one of the worst calls I've
Missouri.
ever seen.
Arkansas guy didn't even touch him, and the referee called a foul. You need to go back and watch it. It was nuts.
You know where I'm going. There was a play late in the game where the Arkansas player tackled the Missouri player.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
It should have been an intentional foul. I don't know what the refs are looking at. But let's get to the important issue. Watson, we're at 49.8%.
Yeah. Hey, moral victory. You're back to looking at percentages again.
Oh, absolutely. 49.758454.
There you go.
Yeah,
we're back into percentages. It got to where you were getting so low you didn't want to go over that.
No, I didn't really want to go there. So we're trying to have a perfect week. It's not easy. But here's where we're going. We're going out to the Pac-12. Utah at home has been a dangerous basketball team over the years in that Huntsman Center that they play in. Washington State, they're better than they have been. Are they good enough for this? I don't think so. I'm going Utah. Let's see how we do at Utah.
The Utes.
There we go. Got that, Watson?
I got it, babe.
Hey,
Okay.
George, you got to pick Rice so we can get the Watson Owl hand signal at least one more time this year. I love it.
You could just go ahead and give it to us.
I love it.
Hey, we have late word. Here's a big shocker. Under breaking news, the New England Patriots are interviewing Bill O'Brien to be their offensive coordinator. Gee, who couldn't see that coming?
Yeah.
George, also late breaking news here. The Royals have added Aroldis Chapman on a 1-year deal.
Have they really?
Yeah. He still got something left?
It's hard to tell.
Can't imagine what that shoulder's been through. God.
And I got some breaking news.
Oh.
There are 8 assistants gone from Tampa. 8.
Oh, wow.
And my
So
buddy
basically
Rick
everybody's
Christopher,
out
one of them.
Wow.
I don't know if you caught that, George. I said my buddy Rick Christopher is one of those 8. So.
Oh, no, I didn't. Now, let me ask you, he was in a non-coaching role?
Oh, he was on the
This
field.
year?
He's one of them analysts in college. He's called a senior assistant. And I hope Rick went out on his own. It says he retired. I knew it was the last year of his contract. So
yeah.
Did he have
he had one left when Bruce got out in the summer. But 8 assistants.
That's a good man.
That's good man, but that's a bunch of coaches to let go at one time now. And I don't mean to let go. Some retired and some he fired. So, but anyway,
Send your resume to Tampa.
There'll be some moving vans coming in out of that place.
No kidding. Okay, so you're gone tomorrow.
Yep.
And we will see you again on Monday.
See you on Monday. Y'all have fun.
Well, hold on.
Hit them straight,
Hold on.
Watson.
Not so fast. Not so fast.
Not so fast, my friend.
Jacksonville at KC.
Jacksonville at KC. KC.
Gee, I'm shocked. Giants at Philly.
Ooh, I think that's the best one of the weekend. I'm going with Philadelphia. I think Hurts is healthy for the first time in a month. I'm going with Philadelphia.
Cincy at Buffalo.
Buffalo. I know you probably go opposite of that, but I'm going Buffalo.
I don't know.
Who knows?
That one's dangerous with the Hamlin piece, the number 3 piece tied in all of those heads, and they're playing each other again.
Yeah.
And just think, if they'd finished that game, I think it would be back in Cincinnati again.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they'd beat the Bills that night. But I believe the Bills will figure out a way. I think when he played poorly, and that's the worst game he's played in a while, I think he'll come back and play much better this week and get rid of the ball quicker. That's what I bet.
Dallas at San Fran.
San Fran.
You're going chalk.
I think I'm going home team all the way across.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good one.
See you guys.
See you, Watson.
Okay, guys. Michael, Billy, behave.
You too, George.
You betcha.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
You can book it.
Thank you. Thank you for remembering that statement. Stay tuned. We're back tomorrow and hope you are as well.